It's been so quiet here, Deputy Chair.
Very quiet, Chief Whip.
No, Chief Whip, I am here. I was just saying, if the chairperson is not within the next 2 minutes or 3 minutes there, I will have to start the house sitting. So
Okay, thank you.
we're just checking. And I don't know whether we have a quorum already. That is also what maybe the table staff can try to confirm, please.
Deputy Chair,
Yeah,
Deputy Chair,
attendance is good. Thank you, Deputy Chair. Will be guided by you. Thanks.
Do we have a quorum?
Deputy Chair, we do have a quorum. I'm still trying to confirm with the chairperson.
So I will give you a minute or two, then we can start.
Deputy Chair, I don't think there's any harm if you start with the proceedings so that the chair maybe is held up as advocate indicated. I will suggest.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chief Whip. I think then we can start with the proceedings, and I will bow to my left and bow to the right, or bow to the right and then bow to the left. Can I request delegates to observe a moment of silence for prayer or meditation?
Recording in progress.
Thank you very much. Honorable delegates, before we proceed, I would like to remind delegates of the rules relating to virtual and hybrid meetings and sittings, in particular sub-rules 21, 22, and 23 of Rule 10, which provides as follows. The virtual sitting constitutes a sitting of the National Council of Provinces. Delegates in the sitting enjoy the same powers and privileges that apply in the sitting of the Council. For purposes of the quorum, all delegates who are logged onto the virtual platform shall be considered present. Delegates must switch on their videos if they want to speak, and they should ensure that the microphones and the gadgets are muted and must remain muted unless they have permission to speak. All delegates may participate in the discussions through the chat room. In addition, I would like to remind delegates that the interpretation facility is active. Permanent delegates, members of the executive, special delegates, and SALGA representatives on the platform are requested to ensure that the interpretation facility on their electronic devices are properly activated to facilitate access to the interpretation services. Honorable delegates, before we proceed, I would like to welcome all permanent delegates, the MECs, and all special delegates, as well as SALGA representatives to the House. Honorable delegates, I will now allow an opportunity for delegates to give notices of motion. We have got 20 minutes in total for notices as well as motions without notice. So delegates can raise their hands because this is a full virtual sitting. They can raise their hands if they have any notices of motions. Honorable Mushodi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson.
Just before you proceed, honorable members, this is notices of motions.
Yes.
So I just want to remind you thereof. Honorable Mushodi, you may continue.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House its next sitting debate the development of mechanism here at ensuring that the laws of the country are observed in the employment of foreign nationals. I so move, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Thank you.
Just a moment. Thank you, Honorable Mushodi. The next motion without notice. Honorable Mama Rechane. Notice of motion.
Thanks, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House in its next sitting debate ways to increase support for the tourism sector, including cultural tourism, to boost the country's job capacity. So I move. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mama Rechane. Noted. Honorable Zoe Ndongeni.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Chairperson. I'm audible.
Yes, you are. Okay.
I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House in its next sitting debate the mechanism to intensify efforts geared at reducing the high dropout and repetition rates at the South African public schools. I so moved. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Ndongeni. Honorable Ryder.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Deputy Chair, I rise on behalf of the Democratic Alliance and move that at its next sitting, this House debates the lack of cooperation and coordination between the three spheres of government, which has resulted in a water outage in the Johannesburg metropolitan municipal area, which has lasted for a number of days. I so move.
Noted, Honorable Ryder. Honorable members, I will now allow an opportunity to delegates who wish to move motions without notice. Delegates who wish to move motions without notice, and I will allow Honorable Khai.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Greetings to you. Greetings to the honorable members. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House knows the Department of Employment and Labor, working with other law enforcement agencies, have conducted a 3-day blitz inspection in Rustenburg in Northwest, which started on Monday, 11 March 2024. Understand that the inspection's main purpose is to test the level of compliance in terms of labor laws, such as Occupational Health and Safety Act, Basic Conditions of Employment Act, Unemployment Insurance Act, Unemployment Insurance Contribution Act, and others. Believes that there is a growing tendency to contravene South Africa's labor laws by certain employers in South Africa, as evidenced in the increase in a number of arrests of employed undocumented foreign nationals, as illegal trading and selling of adulterated food in townships and villages. Understand that the blitz inspection resulted in issuing of 50 contravention notices and compliance orders against non-compliant employers in Rustenburg in Northwest, and encourages more of this kind of operation to be continuously held all over the country to ensure that employers adhere to South Africa's rules and regulations. As so moved. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Khai. Is there any objection to the motion? If none, the motion is agreed to. In terms of Section 65 of the Constitution, I will now go to the next motion without notice. Honorable Sheikh.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House welcomes the signing of a memorandum of understanding by the Minister of Water and Sanitation with his Zimbabwean counterpart, Dr. Anxious Masuka, for the sale of treated water from Zimbabwe to a border town in northern Limpopo on Thursday, the 14th of March, 2024. Notes that the bilateral agreement signed by both ministers will result in the supply of about 15 million cubic meters per annum of treated water from the Beitbridge water treatment works in Zimbabwe to the Musina local municipality through a 20-kilometer pipeline. Also notes that the project will benefit a population of about 132,000 people residing in 192 villages and one town, which is Musina. Reckons that the municipality that Musina is experiencing a dry season with limited sources of safe drinkable water, with the community mainly relying on boreholes for supply. Believes that the agreement will go a long way in ensuring that the availability of water resources to be used to support various socioeconomic activities and for domestic users. Also believes that this project will assist a great deal in alleviating the communities in Musina from the hardship and difficulties of accessing water, especially clean and drinkable water. Commends the South African government for the bold step in ensuring that Musina and its surrounding villages are prioritized with the provision of water infrastructure to ensure the availability of clean and drinking water. I so move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sheikh. Is there any objection to the motion? If none,
Object.
the motion, there being an objection, the motion may not be proceeded with and will become a notice of a motion. We will continue. Honorable Mtetwa, you will be the next one. Honorable Mtetwa.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House commend the multidisciplinary team of police for swiftly responding and tracking down suspected police killers at Claremont Informal Circle in Durban. Chair. We note that the police officer from Durban Central SAPS and his colleagues from Guatabega SAPS who were off duty when they were attacked in their vehicle. Also note that one of them was killed before he was robbed of his firearm, while his colleague was also robbed of his firearm while left unharmed. We understand that an around-the-clock police investigation began after the shooting, and the police received information that one of the killers was at the informal circle in Claremont. Also understand that the suspect, who is in 30s, was killed during a shooting out with the police officer in Claremont on Monday, the 11th March 2024. Believe that police are key in the security, safety of our nation, as well as the maintenance of the law and order. We also believe that the attack on the police is an attack on the state and call for the tightening of the measures gathered at the combating police attack so as to protect the law enforcement agencies in the extortions of their duties. I so move, Chair.
Any objection to the motion? There being no objections, the motion is agreed to. Honorable Molitsane.
Thank you, Chairperson. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that the Council should note with sympathy the passing of Councillor Pulani Mpolo, who died on the 11th of March 2024. Further, the House should note that the late Pulani Mpho was a PR councillor for the economic freedom fighters in Nala municipality and was also a dedicated member of the Lejwe Regional Command Team. The House should also acknowledge that she was a fearless economic freedom fighter, an unflinching revolutionary, and a leader whose life was dedicated to tirelessly saving our people and movement. The House should also further acknowledge that her contribution in Nala municipality, which was crucial in growing the EFF support base, as well as building structures and recruiting members in the community. Also recognize that she leaves behind her husband and 3 children and will be laid to rest this coming Sunday on the 24th of March 2024. The economic freedom fighters sends its heartfelt condolences to her friends, family, and community of Nala. May her soul rest in peace. Thank you, Chairperson.
The House accept the motion of sympathy, and we will not call for objections because this is something different. Honorable Bibi.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the council notes that the government on the 16th of March 2024 held an event to mark the 110th commemoration of the King Dinizulu kaCotshwayo in KwaZulu-Natal province. Also notes that King Dinizulu kaCotshwayo ruled the Zulu nation from a young age during a difficult period, when the Zulu nation was under siege from colonial rule. Further note and recognize King Dinizulu, a violent fight against colonialism, wherein he defended the land within his life, and also commends the government for recognizing the legacy of the King Dinizulu and its continued importance in the national history. I so move, Chairperson.
I'm sorry, Honorable Bibi. Is there any objection? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Next will be Honorable Visser. Honorable Visser. Okay. Honorable Visser.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My bandwidth is very weak, so I'm not going to put on my camera. Okay, on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move without notice that this council note with concern that South Africans must be aware of the reality that 7 billion litres of raw untreated sewer is daily released into our rivers. An independent scientific investigation should be done to determine the root cause of toxic pollution and measures to stop it. Acknowledge the rapid change and regression of the Vaal River, now one of the worst polluted rivers in South Africa. All our rivers are under threat and dying due to the urgency in dealing with what became a management style to discharge raw untreated sewer and toxic industrial waste freely into rivers not meeting the specified treatment levels. Accounting officers should be criminally charged in their personal capacity for the destruction caused by their mismanagement. Recognize the failures of government institutions responsible for management and making decisions about water in our metros and towns. The severely contamination of fecal pollution has a significant impact on the health and well-being of all water users, including all agricultural and fresh produce being irrigated from the rivers. Expresses concerns that between the mandates of the Department of Water and Sanitation, the Department of Environmental Affairs, and the Intergovernmental Constitutional Cooperative Clause, South Africa regressed from being a world leader in the treatment of sewage to now being a victim of a tsunami of untreated sewage flooding our rivers, threatening the very foundation of our national economy and failing the mandated obligation as the custodian of water in South Africa. A river doesn't just carry water, it carries life, and therefore is the most critical resource. Government must regulate water quality and restrict discharge of untreated sewer filling our rivers. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Visser, is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection. There being an objection, the motion may not be proceeded with and will become a notice of a motion. Next, Honorable Nkosi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House note that South Africa and the National Library commemorates the National Week from the 15th to the 24th March. Also note that this is an annual celebration that highlights the important role libraries plays in fostering knowledge, promoting literacy, and preserving cultural heritage. 3, further note that this year's Library Week theme is Libraries Foster Social Cohesion, which bringing gaps, fostering inclusivity, providing a space for intellectual growth, enabling informed community participation, stimulating dialogue, and promoting mutual respect amongst people from diverse backgrounds. We call on parents and guardians to encourage children and the youth to frequently visit local libraries to read and improve the national literacy levels. I so move, Honorable Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nkosi. Is there any objection to the motion? If none, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Du Toit, you will be next.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus that this House notes that Renier Leroux and Jan Heeman of Team M40 were crowned the Kings of the Waves by winning the surf racing modified class in the Thundercat Inflatable Racing World Championships 2024 held at Kings Beach in Port Elizabeth. Note that these two young men showed the world that dedication and hard work pays off, and further notes that these young men are mentors in a society and proof that when you believe in your dreams, you will be victorious. I so move, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Du Toit. We congratulate the two young men and the motion is agreed to. Honorable Njadu.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Honorable Deputy Chair. On behalf of the African National Congress, the increase of the 350 grant hereby move without notice that the House welcomes the good news that the social relief of distress will be raised to 370 from April this year. Understand that the increase is not ideal for the cost of living faced by nearly 19 million South Africans who rely on these grants to make ends meet. However, believes that the increase will go a long way in making difference in the lives of millions of South Africans who continue to live in poverty and have no other means of survival at their disposal. Calls on the government and stakeholders to continue to find ways of improving this grant so that in the future, its increase can be linked to inflation when fiscal space allows, and supports the South African government's commitment to continue to provide the social relief of distress grant whilst deliberations on the feasibility of an affordable permanent basic income support grant is in process. I so move, Honorable Deputy Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Njadu. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Nchabaleng, you are the next.
Thanks, Honorable Deputy Chair. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House commends the police in Leboahomo for successfully apprehending 4 male suspects for engaging in illegal mining activities at Magurung village in the Capricorn District Municipality in Limpopo. Understands that the 4 foreign nationals between the ages of 22 and 35 were arrested as part of the ongoing high-density operation Valum Godi, conducted by the South African Police Service Capricorn District Illicit Mining Task Team on Wednesday, the 6th of March, 2024, in the Leboa-Kgomo policing area. Also understand that during the arrest, the police seized various mining equipment utilized in the illicit activities, such as an idling power generator, a jackhammer, and 1 drill point. Believes that illegal mining has a devastating effect on the South African economy and breeds horrendous acts of violence in areas where they occur. Further welcomes the police's unwavering resolution to vigorously pursue individuals involved in illegal mining and supports their ongoing commitments and efforts in combating illegal mining activities, as well as their resolve to uphold the rule of law in that province and the rest of South Africa. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Nchabaleng. Is there any objection to the motion? There being no objection, the motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable members, the time has now expired for motions, and we are going to the first order of the day. The first order is the consideration of the report on Joint Standing Committee on the Financial Management of Parliament on Parliament of the Republic of South Africa's 2022-23 Annual Report of the Parliamentary Budget Office, ATC 28 November 2023, page 65. I will now call on Honorable DG Mahlangu, co-chairperson of the Joint Standing Committee on the Financial Management of Parliament, to present the committee report. Honorable Mahlangu. You've got 10 minutes to present your report. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the Chief Whip, special delegates, and honorable members. Thank you very much for affording me this opportunity to present towards the end of the 6th Parliament term the report of the Joint Standing Committee on the Financial Management of Parliament, having considered the annual report of the Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. Honorable members, having taken into account Parliament's budgetary constraints, confronted with poor economic performance and the low growth forecast in the country, Parliament identified only 2 strategic priorities for the 6th Parliament, in which it envisaged to strengthen oversight and to enhance public involvement in Parliament's activities. In order to achieve the outcome of these strategic priorities, Parliament aimed to improve the committee's oversight work in relation to budget cycle, allowing sufficient time in the parliamentary program for oversight activities and encouraging committees to undertake joint oversight activities. In improving effectiveness of public hearings, Parliament endorsed greater public participation by expanding public education, better dissemination of information, effective use of broadcasting, technology and social media, the use of more official languages, and encouraging committees to undertake joint public hearings. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, to execute oversight and public hearings in the 6th Parliament. Parliament intended to enhance research and legal support in respect of oversight activities, improve members' capacity through capacity building programs that empowers members of Parliament in order to efficiently and effectively execute their oversight responsibilities. Parliament also aimed to improve oversight and accountability through better monitoring, tracking and evaluation in respect of Parliament's own work, as well as the work of the executive. Honorable Chairperson and members, Parliament also envisaged to safeguard openness and accessibility through the use of modern technology in respect of social media, tools of trade,
workflow and automation, as well as cut costs, but ensuring operational sustainability. Honorable members, Parliament achieved the actual performance of 100% in 2022-23 financial year, meeting all the targets. The institution set 9 performance indicators to ensure its performance based on overall members' satisfaction. The outcomes thereof point to 2022-23 APP, which was aligned to the 6th Parliament Strategic Plan. The performance of Parliament was also measured by the client satisfaction, in which services were measured through a survey conducted quarterly with members of Parliament. The direct feedback was provided about where services could be improved. Services were rated along 5 dimensions, most interrelated to client satisfaction on usefulness, reliability, timeliness, ease of access, and fairness. The results were determined by an average of the feedback received from the members of Parliament. Honorable Deputy Chairperson and honorable members, the post-retirement medical aid benefits issue had not been resolved at the end of the 2022-23 financial year. Approaching the end of the 6th Parliament, this issue has been dealt with the National Treasury and Parliament's Executive Authority and Joint Standing Committee on Financial Management of Parliament. The committee has recommended in a number of its report about this issue in this House, even in the previous parliamentary terms. Honorable members, the reliability of members' loss of office gratuity on Parliament had also not been resolved at the end of the 2022-23 financial year, approaching the end of the 6th Parliament. Parliament has an obligation to pay permanent delegates who have served 5 or more years and whose terms of office have ended are entitled to once-off gratuity benefit equally to 4 months pensionable salary for every 5 years of service. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the exit gratuity is payable to eligible members of Parliament who are members of public office bearers pension fund that exit the fund before or because of general elections. The exit gratuity is calculated as the difference between the value payable based on the new rules and the value payable in terms of old fund rules. The amount payable increases by the CPI each year until it paid to a member when exits the fund. Honorable Chair, Deputy Chairperson, Parliament carries the obligation to provide the post-employment travel benefit, which is the domestic travel benefits to former members, executive members, meaning ministers and deputy ministers, and their spouses. Beneficiaries are provided with a set of travel allocations, which is valid for each calendar year, with benefit in effect from the first day subsequent the date on which former member surrender their offices or their office. Honorable members, Parliament achieved its 9th consecutive and successful clean audit. The Auditor General found that Parliament's financial statements present fairly in all material respect. The financial position of Parliament as at 31st March 2023. The financial performance and cash flows for 2022-23 financial years were in accordance with the standards of generally recognized accounting practices, GREP, and the requirements of the FMPLA. Honorable Chair, Deputy Chairperson, the audit committee in Parliament is an independent, the audit committee is an independent statutory committee established in terms of Section 47 of the FMPPLA. Its terms of reference are formalized in the audit committee charter as approved by the executive authority. Overall, in the period under review, the committee operated in terms of its mandate as outlined in the FMPPLA and the charter. The committee was satisfied with the resilience of internal controls, reliance of the internal controls over supply chain management and fraud risk management. The audit committee encouraged continued efforts to improve controls over information and communication technology and institutional performance management processes. Parliament was guided by the enterprise risk management framework. The management of the institution was ultimately responsible for maintaining an effective risk management process. A risk management committee comprising senior managers was in place. However, the audit committee was concerned about the lack of capacity to ensure implementation of a robust risk management program for the institution. It therefore recommends further improvement of the risk management practice, in particular improvements to risk governance processes, including the functioning of the risk management committee and use of the organizational redesign processes to determine the most suitable resourcing model for Parliament's governance, risk management, and compliance function. Honorable Member.
Conclusion, Honorable Member, as you draw to conclusion.
As I conclude, Honorable Chairperson, please allow me to thank the members of both houses, more especially the members of the Joint Standing Committee from the NCOP, the staff, the support staff from for the committee, for the sterling work that they have shown, their commitment in as far as executing their work at undesirable hours. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Mhlangu. Before we proceed to the voting, thank you, Honorable Delegates. I will now put the question, and the question is that the report be adopted. But before we proceed to the voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 86 if they so wish. Maximum is 3 minutes per declaration. Provinces, any indication? I don't see any. We will continue. We shall proceed now to the voting on the question, and I will now call on the provinces to cast their votes, and we'll call it upon heads of delegations. They must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape. Nkosi, Free State.
Free State votes in favor, Deputy Chairperson of the Council.
Thank you very much. Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Dangor. KwaZulu Natal.
KwaZulu Natal,
Ngiyabonga ma. Limpopo.
Limpopo vote in favor, Deputy Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Nkosi. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Bartlett. Northwest. 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 We'll proceed. Oh, thank you very much, Honorable Dodovu. Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abiskagni. The voting is now closed. All provinces have voted in favor. I shall therefore declare the report adopted in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the second order. consideration of the report of the Joint Standing Committee on the Financial Management of Parliament on Parliament of the Republic of South Africa's draft 2024-25 annual performance plan dated 28 November 2023, ATC 28 November 2023, page 73. I will now once again call on Honorable D.G. Mahlangu, the co-chairperson of the Joint Standing Committee on the Financial Management of Parliament, to present the committee report. Honorable Mahlangu, it's over to you.
Thank you very much once more, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, for allowing me to present this other report of 2024-25 performance plan. I'm presenting this report on behalf of the Joint Standing Committee on the Financial Management of Parliament, having considered the Parliament of the Republic of South Africa's draft 2024-25 annual performance plan. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the medium-term strategic framework sets out the government strategic plan for 2019 to 2024. It contains 7 priorities, 81 outcomes, and 561 indicators. Parliament will monitor the overall impact of the development indicators contained in it. The implementation of the strategic plan is achieved through annual performance plans and associated operational plans and budget. The APPs outlined the outputs that must be delivered to achieve the outcomes in strategic plans. The operational plans in turn focus on the activities and inputs needed to deliver outputs. This APP, honorable members, represents a continuation of the changes that were first introduced in 2021-22. In 2021-22 same year, financial year, Parliament reduced its program for 5 to 3. Since that time, performance has also been measured using the client satisfaction model rather than the more controversial method informed by the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluations Framework on strategic and annual performance plans. Honorable members and Honorable Deputy Chairperson, to set up the new macro-strategic framework for the 7th Parliament, Parliament hosted a strategic review session in November 2022, themed around improving the quality of governance and accountability through enhanced oversight, and with a focus on how Parliament may be redefined to effectively respond to the demands of citizens. It was attended by Parliament's executive authority, presiding officers, and senior management team. External stakeholders were invited to participate to share their insight on how Parliament performs. The performance may be improved. The analysis of the 6 Parliament performance reveals elements which contribute to poor outcomes for the institutions, such as weak oversight and accountability, and no implementation of parliamentary committee recommendation, fragmented governance, and ineffective decision-making. This diminishing public trust, poor public participation, and weak stakeholder management, including poor coordination with key partners, the lack of technical tools to support oversight, ineffective support for constituency work, lack of clarity of powers between National Treasury and Parliament, in particular to Parliament-owned budgeting and functions, decision-making, and limitations of structures, uneven resource allocation, and weak strategy execution. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the interventions were also identified to improve Parliament's performance, such as greater strategic clarity, the development of instruments supporting oversight modeling, development of useful institutional indicators, and scorecards, the development of an implementation plan for Zondo recommendations, the development of a new participation framework to lead and coordinate oversight activities, the development of an oversight priority model, the development of a committee planning framework, the review of the support for constituency offices to be conducted, the development of an impact assessment framework for bills, the review of the petitions system, and the development of a stakeholder engagement framework. The strategic review session concluded that ideally the 7th Parliament should be a transformative, responsive, and accountable Parliament, practice effective stakeholder management and participation, practice effective decision making, and strategy execution, and optimize resource allocation according to the institutional strategy. The outcome of the strategic review session resulted in the development of an action plan for executing Parliament strategy. Including selecting critical indication capturing the work of Parliament from an impact and outcome level. The institution's 2023-2024 APP was reviewed and a draft macro strategy of the 7th Parliament was created. In respect of the restoration of the building damaged during the 2022 financial year, we know the cause. The institution will partner with the DBSA and the stakeholders, including the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure and the National Treasury, to deliver the project. The Parliament envisioned new developments such as a high-level change management plan to ensure transformation of the institution, the implementation of the plan to restore the buildings affected by the 2022 fire, the implementation of an institutional process to ensure strategic clarity, the review and optimization of the business model for Parliament, the professionalizing of the parliamentary service towards ensuring service excellence, the alignment of the institutional structure for its strategy, skills transformation towards data and information management, and analysis and problem solving in support of the work of a transformative Parliament, and the development and implementation of a new broadcasting strategy for the 7th Parliament. Honorable members and Deputy Chairperson, Parliament set the transformational target, among others, to pursue the transformational objective in line with the legislative and oversight program, aiming to implement the recommendations of the Zondo Commission, the development and implementation of an oversight priority model to ensure scrutiny of critical areas, the development and implementation of a committee planning framework linked to the identified oversight priority areas, a country dashboard to assist in measuring progress towards the attainment of the NDP outcomes and impacts, scoreboards for both houses of Parliament to ensure their strategies are aligned, investment in data modeling and scenario tools to improve the quality of oversight. Honorable members, the appropriation amount to approximately 3 billion rands is determined based on the 2024-25 annual performance plan. In addition, Parliament requested an amount of approximately 493 million rands for direct charges, that is remuneration of members of Parliament and other requirements. The sales by market establishment or own revenue are budgeted at 3 million rands, and the interest on income is budgeted at 15 million rands. Other revenue is budgeted at approximately 249 million rands. In total, Parliament's 2024-25 budget amounts to approximately 3.8 billion rands. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, for the associate services and transfers, which includes members' facilities allocated 287 million rands, represented political parties in Parliament provided 572 million rands, and the PBO 20.3 million rands. Therefore, in total, the associate service and transfer program received an allocation of approximately 879 million rands. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the committee observed that while it appreciates the work accomplished to development of the 2024-25 APP and macro structure for the 7th Parliament, there are concerns around the implementation of the plans, especially considering the delay in the completion of the organization realignment projects, the number of critical vacancies, constraints, budget, and various capacity constraints within the parliamentary services. The committee is also concerned about the lack of details in the APP evolving the matter in which the structure will be implemented. In addition, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the committee notes the various risks identified to the successful implementation of the 2024-25 APP. It is also noted that the administration has not provided strategies to mitigate this risk. As indicated in previous years, in all the reports of the committee is concerned about the liability posed by Parliament's obligations in respect of their contributions to PAMET medical aid scheme for former members of Parliament and provincial legislatures. The committee is concerned about the lack of progress as far as negotiations with the National Treasury to transfer this liability away from Parliament and towards more appropriate vehicle. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the committee observed that approximately 200 million rands budget reduction imposed on Parliament in the recent medium-term budget policy statement, MTBPS. This will undoubtedly have a negative impact on the core business of Parliament. We also remain concerned about the fact that Parliament was funded in the same manner as government department. Parliament is reliant on the executive, which it is obligated to hold to account. That is untenable. That is untenable. My apologies. The slow progress in negotiations with the Minister of Finance towards the funding process that is appropriate for Parliament as a separate aim, as a separate arm of state, remains the grave concern as it impacts on Parliament's ability to execute its constitutional obligations. Deputy Chairperson, the committee notes the reported achievements in relation to public participation, but remain concerned that efforts to encourage public participation in the lawmaking processes are inadequate. We are concerned about the broadcasting of parliamentary activities on a pay-to-view channel and data-dependent forums, which under the current economic conditions make it impossible for a significant section of the population to have access to how they were represented in Parliament. Honorable Deputy Chairperson and honorable members, the executive authority should respond to the recommendations of the committee that are stated in this report within the 30 days of the adoption of this report by this August House. The committee recommends that the organizational realignment project be completed as a matter of urgency and before the 7th Parliament. Furthermore, it is recommended that all vacancies critical to this institution, all vacancies critical to the institution, and the implementation of the 7th Parliament macro structure, they must be filled as a matter of urgency. The comprehensive risk management plans be developed to address the risk listed in relation to the implementation of programs 1 and 2, the senior management, which will be responsible for leading the implementation of the 7th Parliament macro structure, be capacitated to lead their divisions in a manner that will support the success of the strategy for the 7th Parliament.
As you draw to conclusion, honorable member.
As I draw to conclusion, honorable chairperson, the committee recommends a review of the processes underpinning the institution's public participation efforts. Efforts to expand public participation should be ongoing and cover the extent of Parliament's activities. The finalization of the institutional broadcasting strategy was dependent on the finalization of the South African Broadcasting Corporations Bill. We therefore, as a committee, honorable chairperson, as I conclude, recommend that once that bill has been finalized, the broadcasting strategy should be completed as a matter of urgency. This strategy should include provisions for free access to television and social media. I thank you, honorable members, and extending my appreciation to the members and the support staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mahlangu. Honorable delegates, I will now put the question. And the question is that the report be adopted. But before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 86 if they so wish. If none, we shall now proceed to the voting on the question. And I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape iyavuma sihlalo.
Enkosi ma. Free State.
Free State votes in favor, Deputy Chair of the Council.
Thank you, Honorable Mtsube. Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, Honorable Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Ambassador Dangor. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal iyawaseka umbiko sihlalo.
Ngiyabonga mama. Limpopo. Limpopo.
Limpopo vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mama Rihane. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Nkosi. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape vote in favor, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Bartlett. Northwest. Northwest.
Northwest in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Modise. Please, I won't call Northwest 3 times again. Western Cape.
Western Cape supports.
Thank you very much, Honorable Labuskaghni. The voting is now closed. All provinces voted in favor, and we therefore declare the report adopted in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the third order. Consideration of report of the Joint Standing Committee on the Financial Management of Parliament on Parliament of the Republic of South Africa's 2022-23 Annual Report, 28 November 2023, ATC 28 November 2023, page 93. And I will once again call, I hope you have taken some water, Honorable Mahlangu, because it's once again yourself, co-chairperson of the Joint Standing Committee on the Financial Management of Parliament, to present the committee report. Honorable DG Mahlangu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. I once more feel honored and humbled to be given the opportunity to present this report to the majestic House, the August House, on behalf of the Joint Standing Committee on the Financial Management of Parliament, having considered the 2022-23 annual report of the PBO, the Parliamentary Budget Office. The PBO is a juristic entity of the the Parliament of the Republic of South Africa, and is funded through a transfer from Budget Vote 2 of Parliament. Honorable members, the PBO was established in 2013 in terms of Section 15 of the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and Related Matters Act number 9 of 2009. It is a juristic entity of Parliament with a director serving as its accounting officer. The PBO accounting officer is accountable to the NA and the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces through the Executive Authority. Additionally, the PBO is required to consult an advisory board comprising of the House chairpersons responsible for the committees in the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces, and the chairpersons of the finance committees in the National Assembly and the NCOP on specific governance and management matters. PBO mandates requires that it provides independent, professional, and objective research, analysis, and advice to support Parliament fiscal oversight processes. Honorable members, the core function of the PBO are to undertake research and analysis for the finance and appropriations committees in the in the National Assembly and the NCOP on an annual basis, providing reviews and analysis of the documentation tabled in Parliament by the Minister of Finance, providing advice and analysis on proposed amendments to the fiscal framework, division of revenue and money bills, and on policy proposals with budgetary implications, monitoring and synthesizing matters and reports with budgetary implications, tabled and adopted by the Houses of Parliament, with particular emphasis on reports by other committees, keeping abreast of policy debates and developments in key expenditure and revenue areas, monitoring and reporting on potential unfunded mandates arising out of legislative policy and budgetary proposals, undertaking any other work deemed necessary by the director to support the implementation of the money bills legislation. Honorable Deputy Chairperson and members, the PBO highlighted some challenges that impact its ability to deliver on its mandate, such as inadequate budget and other resources, resulting in the PBO being disempowered to give full effort to Section 15 of the Money Bills Act. In particular, support to other sectoral committees, such as those overseeing education, health, economic development, monitoring, and reporting on potential unfunded mandates coming from legislation, and advising on the process to be considered when processing budget amendments, non-compliance with the money bills legislation in respect of the PBO funding, inadequate budget and human capacity to fulfill its mandate and fulfill governance and reporting responsibilities. Inadequate budget, making it impossible to recruit talents to ensure the PBO operates effectively, and excessively bureaucratic recruitment processes that are inappropriate for an entity of the PBO size and impact its ability to fill vacancies with the necessary speed. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the 2022-23 Strategic Planning Framework for PBO identified 5 main performance indicators with associated demand and supply-driven performance outputs. The performance indicators and associated performance outputs and targets were aligned with the mandates as set out in the section in section 15 of the Money Bills Act. Per the above mentioned, the PBO honorable members performed positively, delivering 36 outputs against the 28 outputs that targeted. The PBO's performance information was influenced by cyclical variations in demand-driven requests, which resulted in the performance variance. Unlike Parliament, the PBO did not set targets to measure the satisfaction and the perception of members of Parliament about its performance. In the 2022-23 annual performance review, the PBO delivered various research and analysis briefs to committees of Parliament, including a budget analysis addressing the mismatch between strategic development framework and budget framework, a brief on macroeconomic analysis of the socio-economic and budget context, tax policy, government underspending of proposals for a parliamentary committee to oversee the presidency, a brief on the under industrial policy and the dysfunctional structures of the South African economy, briefs on macroeconomic and trade and industrial policy reforms, business bounce back support, and the credit loan guarantee schemes for small, macro, and medium enterprises. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the Money Bills Act requires that the PBO be provided with a 3-year budget to fulfill its mandate. Parliament has not complied with this provision. Failure to provide the budget makes it impossible for the PBO to fully deliver on its mandate and may be regarded as interference with the functions of the office. In 2022-23, the PBO received a gross annual budget of approximately 18.4 million rands across the 3 main expenditure categories. The budget comprised of 17.1 million rands for compensation of employees and approximately 1.3 million rands for goods and services. The PBO reported an annual 88% aggregate spending rate across the 3 main expenditure categories. Delays in procurement and human resource processes resulted in the PBO being unable to complete planned procurement, including economic modeling recruitment. Honorable Chairperson and members, the PBO subscribes to annually paid economic information system that enables it to mine economic econometric data, package and analyze the data, and present the complex data to parliamentarians in an understandable format. The PBO engages in domestic, continental, and international stakeholder relations to strengthen existing stakeholder relations and to establish new ones. These relationships,
as you draw to conclusion, honorable member,
that the office stays abreast of the practices. As I conclude, Honorable Chairperson, the committee recommended in its report related to the information, to the performance of the Parliament, that efforts to resolve shortcomings related to Parliament-owned budget processes and to negotiate with the Minister of Finance. The committee recommends that the executive authority investigates the impediment to the full implementation of the provision of the Money Bills Act relating to the PBO. And as I conclude, Honorable Chairperson, we also recommend, last recommendation, that the PBO consider measuring the satisfaction and perception of members of Parliament in the same way that the non-financial performance of Parliament was measured to ensure members' satisfaction with the support services it receives. Moreover, the committee recommends that the PBO ensures that it complies with the requirements to report to its financial performance and its annual reports. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Ngithokoze namalunga wale committee ne support staff. Ngiyathokoza.
Ngiyathokoza, Honorable TK Lady Gladys Mahlangu. Oh, I know it was quite an hardest task that you had, but honorable members, all the reports are in the chat group. It has been uploaded. So we now put the question, and the question is that the report be adopted. But before we proceed to the voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 86, if they so wish. If not, we shall proceed to the voting on the question, and I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes. When called upon, heads of delegations must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape iyavuma sekela sihlalo. Enkosi.
Enkosi Mama. Free State.
Free State votes in favor, Deputy Chairperson of the Council. Thanks.
Thank you, Young Lion. Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dangor. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal yaweseka umbiko usekela sihlalo, ngiyabonga.
Ngiyabonga Mama. Limpopo.
Limpopo vote in favor, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Northwest.
Northwest in favor, Chair.
Thank you very much. Western Cape.
Western Cape support.
Thank you very much, Honorable Labuskaghni. The voting is now closed and all provinces have voted in favor. So I therefore declare the report adopted in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the fourth order. Consideration of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide beyond and report of Select Committee on Health and Social Services thereon. ATC reports. And I will now call on the Honorable E.Z. Njadu, Chairperson of the Select Committee on Health and Social Services, to present the committee report. Honorable Njadu.
Chairperson, my apology. Can I skip and do it next?
Come again. I don't hear you.
Can I skip, Chair, and do it next? It's just a challenge that I'm having.
but I think the next one is also you. NYD. Okay, then we will go to Honorable Sheikh.
Please,
Because
Chair.
so which means both your orders will now follow
Yes. Thank you, Chair.
the
I'll be
sixth
ready.
order.
Yes, Chair.
Honorable Sheikh, honorable members, as requested by Honorable Njado, and it will take a lot of time to ask further explanations. I will allow that we proceed to the sixth order and then return to the fourth and the fifth order that is supposed to be done by Honorable Njado. And I will now request that we continue with the sixth order, that is the consideration of the Independent Police Investigative Directorate Amendment Bill, B21B 2023 National Assembly, Section 75, and the report of Select Committee on Security and Justice thereon, ATC 13 March 2024, page 31. And I will now call on Honorable Shaida Sheikh, Chairperson of the Select Committee on Security and Justice, to present the committee report. Honorable Sheikh, if you are ready, it is over to you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings to your good self and to all honorable members of this august House. Honorable Chairperson, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate Amendment Bill B21B 2023 was referred to the Select Committee on Security and Justice on the 5th of December 2023. The committee reports that it has agreed to the bill without proposed amendments. Honorable Chairperson, the process of effecting amendments to the Independent Police Investigative Directorate Act 2011 commenced in 2016, immediately after the constitutional judgment of McBride versus the Minister of Police and another, also known as the McBride judgment. In the McBride judgment, the Constitutional Court agreed with the applicant and declared Section 6 subclause 3A and 6 subclause 6 of the IPID Act invalid, to the extent that they authorized the Minister of Police to unilaterally suspend, take any disciplinary steps pursuant to the suspension, or remove from office the Executive Director of the Independent Police Investigative Directorate without parliamentary oversight. Parliament was given 24 months to rectify the constitutional defect. Consequently, a draft bill which sought to cure this defect in the Act was submitted to Parliament, and as a result, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate Amendment Bill 2019 was signed into law by the President on the 26th of May 2020. The aforesaid Amendment Act provides for parliamentary oversight in respect of the suspension, discipline, or removal of the Executive Director as directed by the Constitutional Court in the McBride judgment. After the enactment of the Amendment Act, the process of effecting comprehensive amendments to the Principal Act commenced. A revised version of the bill, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate Amendment Bill 2023, was approved by Cabinet on the 24th of May 2023 for introduction in Parliament. The bill seeks to entrench the institutional and operational independence of IPID, as well as to make it expressly clear that IPID must be independent, impartial, and must exercise its powers and functions without fear, favor, or prejudice. Honorable Chairperson, the Independent Police Investigative Directorate Amendment Bill B21 2023 seeks to amend the Independent Police Investigative Directorate Act 2011 to provide for the director's institutional and operational independence, that the directorate must be independent, impartial, and must exercise its powers and functions without fear, favor, prejudice, or undue influence in order to give effect to the judgment of the Constitutional Court in the case of McBride versus the Minister of Police and another. To amend the provisions relating to the appointment of the Executive Director of the Directorate, to broaden the Executive Director's responsibilities in respect of the referral of recommendations regarding disciplinary matters, to provide for pre-employment security screening investigations to be conducted by the Directorate, to provide for the conditions of service of investigators to be determined by the Minister, to provide for the Directorate to investigate any deaths caused by the action of a member of the South African Police Service or a member of a municipal police service, whether such member was on or off duty, to provide for the Directorate to investigate a rape by a member of the South African Police Service or a member of the municipal police services, whether such member was on or off duty, to strengthen the provisions relating to the implementation of the disciplinary recommendations, to provide for a savings provision regarding the conditions of service of existing investigators and provincial heads, to amend other provisions so as to ensure that the Directorate executes its mandate effectively and efficiently. Honorable Chairperson, the committee received 7 written submissions from institutions and organizations in response to the committee's invitation to the public from the following commentators: the Commission for Gender Equality, the African Criminal Justice Reform, Gun-Free South Africa, Western Cape Government, the Institute for Security Studies, the Catholic Parliament Liaison Officer, and Africa Policing Civilian Oversight Forum. The committee dealt with various issues in its deliberations on the bill on the 28th of February and the 6th of March 2024. Honorable Chairperson, on the 13th of March 2024, prior to adopting the bill, the Parliamentary Legal Services confirmed that the bill is in order and that no amendments are required. The committee proceeded to consider and adopt the bill as referred without proposed amendments, and the committee further adopted the report on the bill on the 13th of March 2024. Honorable Chairperson, the IPID plays an important watchdog role over the South African police services, and as an institution, it should exude the necessary independence and impartiality in exercising its mandate and to secure public trust. Members supported the bill, noting that it has gone a long way to cure the defects which were identified by the Constitutional Court judgment in the McBride matter. The IPID and its work and its independence is supported and strengthened by the bill. The necessary systems and structures must be put in place to ensure that at the end of the day, IPID is effective and it accomplishes its objectives. We particularly welcome the inclusion of Clause 4, which provides for appointment of a panel to assist the Minister with the nomination of a candidate for the Executive Director post and the submission of the name of the candidate to the relevant parliamentary committee for approval. We further understand from our deliberations that the appointment of the panel will be guided by a legal framework and which also covers the qualifications of panel members. The committee is pleased, Honourable Chair, that the bill seeks to strengthen the independence and impartiality of IPID and that this will increase public trust. Honourable Chairperson, the Select Committee on Security and Justice, having considered the Independent Police Investigative Directorate Amendment Bill B21B 2023, referred to it on the 5th of December 2023 and classified by the JTM as a Section 75 bill, recommends that the Council pass the bill without amendments. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shaik. Thank you, Honorable Delegates. Before we proceed to the voting, I shall allow political parties an opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 78 if they so wish. Political parties. Yes, Honorable Dlamini, EFF.
Thank you, Chair. Chairperson, the Independent Investigative Directorate is a constitutional entity established in terms of Section 206, subsection 6 of the Constitution. The drafters of the Constitution envisioned that this would be an independent body guided only by the law to which members of the public would lay complaints against the police. The IPID is therefore constitutionally required to be independent and to be free from political interference. The EFF concurs with the judgment of the Constitutional Court in the Robert McBride case and holds a similar view that no person, regardless of title or position, may assume authority that is not in alignment with the roles, responsibilities, and mandate of such office. The EFF further holds the view that no political interference should be condoned by virtue of concealed section in any law that may jeopardize, compromise, or conflict the independence of IPID or any other institutions of the state. The independence of IPID should be protected at all costs. This institution is bound to investigate transgressions and violations of the police. For this reason, we hold this very strong belief that this institution cannot account to the same person who is also a political principal of the perpetrators that the IPID must investigate. However, The bill before us today still falls too short of these requirements and still leaves too much power to the minister. While we are satisfied that the bill deals adequately with the judgment of the Constitutional Court on the McBride case, we are of the view that the legislature could have done more to broaden the amendments to strengthen IPID. The EFF supports the bill.
Thank you, Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Badenhorst.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chair, the DA cannot support this bill as it has failed to take into account the Constitutional Court judgment on the McBride versus Minister of Police in another court case, wherein the court deemed certain clauses of the IPID Act defective and unconstitutional to the extent that they did not provide the IPID's institutional and operational independence. The court's unanimous decision confirmed that the IPID Act's legislative provisions were unconstitutional insofar as they permitted the Minister of Police unilaterally to suspend, discipline, or remove IPID's executive director, thereby making the directorate vulnerable to political influence. The proposed clause 3 of the bill fails to stipulate expressly and guarantee IPID's independence from SAPS, as is provided for in the Principal Act. The proposed clause 4 fails to ensure that the panel assisting the minister will be appropriately qualified and does not contain sufficient safeguards in guaranteeing the independence of the panel to be appointed by the minister with parliamentary oversight in the event of the executive director's removal from office. The DA therefore is of the belief that if this bill is signed into law, it will most certainly be challenged in court. This bill fails to recognize the importance of IPID as an independent institution that is accountable to Parliament, nor is there an attempt by Parliament to strengthen IPID's independence, and therefore this bill must be rejected. I thank you.
Honorable Butler.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, I just want to ask for my video to be off because we are struggling with load shedding. Chair.
It's fine, you may continue.
As the ANC, we stand to affirm our support for Independent Police Investigative Directorate Bill, known as the IPID Bill. This bill is a result of the Constitutional Court judgment in the McBride versus the Minister of Police and others, in which the court declared sections 6.3a and 6.6 of the IPID Act invalid to the extent that they authorize the Minister of Police to suspend, take any disciplinary steps pursuant to suspension or remove from office Executive Director of the Independent Police Investigative Directorate without parliamentary oversight. Honorable Chair, the amendment in the IPID Bill, amongst other things, addresses the following. A, to ensure independent oversight of the South African Police Services and Municipal Police Services. B, to align provincial strategic objectives with that of the National Office to enhance the functioning of the Directorate. C, to provide for independent and impartial investigations and identify criminal offences allegedly committed by the members of the South African Police Services and Municipal Police Services. D, to make disciplinary recommendations in respect of members of the South African Police Service and Municipal Office Services resulting from investigations conducted by the Directorate. Honourable Chair, this bill clearly provides for the oversight role of Parliament in the appointment of the Executive Director. The retention of sections C1, 6.1 and 6.2 of the IPID Act in the bill guarantees that Parliament, through the Portfolio Committee, will exercise its oversight powers in the appointment of the Executive Director. The bill also provides for the clear distinction of the role of the Executive and the role of Parliament in the appointment of the Executive Director. Honourable Chairperson, we support this bill because it seeks to entrench the institutional and operational independence of IPID, as well as to make it expressively clear that IPID must be independent, impartial, and must exercise its powers and function without fear, favour, or prejudice. Honourable Chair, we as the African National Congress support this bill. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Bartlett. Thank you, honourable members, for the declarations. We will now allow at least 1 minute to delegates who are outside the virtual platform to be able to join the House. We shall now proceed to voting on the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. Delegates who vote in favor should please raise their hands and keep your hands raised.
Njado, vote in favor, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Under votes in favor.
Chairperson Magwala, vote in favor.
Thanks, Magwala.
Chairperson Lee in favor.
Lehi, are you not on the platform? Okay, thanks, thanks, baby girl. The table will lower the hands as soon as they have done the tally.
No, Chair, my hand, I was trying to raise, Chair. I agree. Vote in favor.
Who's speaking, Mushodi?
Oh,
Because
Mudise. Mudise. Yes,
okay. Okay. If all the members that want to vote in favor and are struggling with the gadgets, have they indicated?
Only 4 years of Zoom, eh? Only 4 years.
Ander mense is mos nou so slim soos jy. Ons wat van agteraf kom sal maar nog sukkel.
Go back to the house.
The table will lower the
Lucas, jy het dan
hands.
net agter, jy het van nommer 46 geluk.
Lord, hy enige jy daarom lanklaas gesien, maar wag eers man, ons is met ernstige besigheid hier besig. Thank you. The House will lower all hands to prepare for the next vote. Delegates who vote against should please raise their hands and keep your hands raised until we indicate otherwise.
This is not my hand, Chair. I'm sorry. In favor?
In favor?
We are now by against. We have passed in favor.
Some people forgot to drink coffee this morning.
Who is so sober today? The House will lower the hands to prepare for the next vote.
Is Muto voting against? Is Muto voting against?
Count is completed.
Yes,
The House will lower all hands to prepare for the next vote.
No, it's an old hand. She's not voting
Delegates
against.
who abstain should please raise their hands. If none, the count is
Honourable
completed.
Chairperson.
Yes.
Honourable Chairperson, it's Bossoff here. Sorry, I
Yes.
was kicked off the platform because we're having terrible storm and I was not able to cast my vote. I've just been able to reconnect.
And what is your vote? Indicate, please.
Against, thank you.
Honorable Bosop is voting against. Thank you. We can't take it for granted. Maybe you have got a change of heart. The voting is now closed and the table will submit the results. We are waiting for the results. I'm waiting for the results.
And we're waiting for the election.
Yes, be patient. That also will come. In favor is 29, and against is 12, and abstentions is 0. Thank you very much. That means the bill is agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. Honorable delegates, we will now proceed to the 7th order before we come back to the 4th and the 5th order. And we will now go on consideration of the Expropriation Bill B23B 2020, National Assembly Section 76, and report of Select Committee on Transport, Public Service and Administration, Public Works and Infrastructure thereon, ATC reports. And I will now call on Honorable K.M. Kenny Musimanehape Moimang, Chairperson of Select Committee on Transport, Public Service and Administration, Public Works and Infrastructure to present the committee report. Over to you, Honorable Kenny Moimang.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson of the National Council of Province. Allow me to take this opportunity on behalf of the Select Committee on Transport, Public Works, Public Service and Administration to present the report on the expropriation bill. Bill number 23B of 2020, which is a Section 76 bill that we received from the National Assembly. Honorable Deputy Chair, the object of this bill is to provide for expropriation of property for a public purpose or in the public interest. Secondly, to regulate the procedure for the expropriation of property for a public purpose or in the public interest, including payment of compensation, and also to identify certain instances where the provision of nil compensation may be just and equitable for expropriation in the public interest. Also to repeal the old Apartheid Act of the Expropriation Act number 75, number 63 of 1975, and lastly to provide for matters connected therewith. The bill was passed by the National Assembly and transmitted to the National Council of Province for concurrence and referred to the Select Committee on Transport, Public Service and Administration, Public Works and Infrastructure on the 28th of September 2022. On the 5th of February 2023, the process that was followed by the Select Committee is as follows. We placed an advert in the national media calling for written submission on the bill with a deadline of the 6th of March 2023 for the receipt of submissions. At the request of the Select Committee, a team from the University of Cape Town Law Faculty, or UCT Law Faculty, was invited, led by Professor Henry Monstert, who prepared and conducted a workshop to enable members of the Select Committee to appreciate the concepts related to expropriation with the Select Committee on the 22nd of February 2023. Following that, Deputy Chair, the Council to the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, on behalf of the department, also briefed the Select Committee on the bill. Following that, the Select Committee had oral submissions on the bill on the 27th of September 2023 and also on the 11th of October 2023. Following those submissions, the department was then invited on the 25th of October 2023 to brief the Select Committee on its response to a written and oral submission received on the bill. On the 24th of November 2023, the Select Committee considered the negotiating mandates on the expropriation bill as received from the provinces as follows. It's in Cape Province. It mandated its permanent delegates to the NCOP to negotiate in favor of the bill within parameters identified. Secondly, the Free State Province, the Portfolio Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure, Roads and Transport as designated by the Free State Legislature, made some amendments, but also mandated its permanent delegate to negotiate in favor of the bill. Gauteng Province, the third one, also mandated its permanent delegate to negotiate in favor of the bill, having raised certain amendments that needed to be considered. In relation to KwaZulu-Natal, the Portfolio Committee on Public Works agreed to mandate the KwaZulu-Natal delegation to support or to negotiate in favor of the expropriation bill with consideration of certain amendments that were proposed. In relation to Limpopo, it mandated its permanent delegate to negotiate in favor of the bill and also made some concrete recommendations. With relation to Mpumalanga, the Portfolio Committee on Public Works, Roads and Transport Community Safety, also having considered the expropriation bill, conferred on its permanent delegate to negotiate in favor of the bill without any proposed amendment. Northern Cape, as the seventh province, also mandated its permanent delegate to negotiate in favor of the expropriation bill. The Northwest likewise did the same. And then the Western Cape government, the Standing Committee on Infrastructure, having considered the subject of the expropriation bill, referred to the committee in accordance with the standing rule to confer on its permanent delegate the authority not to negotiate in favor of the bill. The Select Committee considered the C list of agreed amendments to the bill on the 6th of December 2023 and the 7th of February 2024. Following that, 8 provinces submitted the final mandates on the bill, which were considered on the 13th March 2024. And the final mandate submitted were as follows. The Eastern Cape voted in favor of the bill and mandated the Eastern Cape permanent delegate to support the bill. Free State also voted in favor of the bill. Gauteng also did likewise. KwaZulu-Natal agreed also to support the expropriation bill. Limpopo also voted in favor of the bill. Mpumalanga likewise did the same. Northern Cape followed suit and supported the expropriation bill. In relation to Northwest, we did not receive the final mandate. Western Cape, it conferred on its permanent delegate not to support the bill. The Select Committee agreed to make provision for the Northwest final mandate on the bill, but as of now, we have not received the final mandate on the province of Northwest. And now the Select Committee, in terms of the outcome of the consideration of the bill, having deliberated on and considered the subject of the expropriation bill, number B23B of 2020, the National Assembly Bill 1676, as tagged, referred to it and classified by the JTM as a Section 76 bill, reports that it has agreed to an amended Bill B23D 2020. 2 members from the Democratic Alliance submitted a minority view not to support the report. I therefore tabled the report to the House for consideration, Honorable Deputy Chairperson of the Regional Council of Province.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you, Honorable Delegates. I will now put the question, and the question is that the bill be agreed to. Before we proceed to voting, I shall allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of votes in terms of Rule 86 if they so wish. Provinces that want to make declaration of vote may so indicate. If there is nothing, we shall proceed to the vote.
Chair,
Yes, Honorable Labuskaghni.
there is a declaration.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Firstly, Chairperson, the expropriation bill before this House today should be seen for what it is. While expropriation legislation around the world represents the lawful ability of a state to utilize private property for the public good, this bill represents the ANC's desperate attempt to broaden state authority over property ownership by framing it as a land reform instrument to mask its land restitution failures. The passing of the Restitution of Land Rights Act in 1994, followed by the adoption of the Constitution in 1996, made it clear that land should be restored to the dispossessed. The failing ANC government set itself an ambitious program to restore 30% of land. Instead, 30 years later, due to the incompetence and corruption, most land claims have not been settled and very little land has been redistributed. The ANC then conjured up patently unlawfully attempt to alter Section 25 of the Constitution to deprive South Africans of their property rights. The ANC shenaninery failed dismally in December of 2021, and now, in a desperate attempt to avert the inevitable disaster at the polls in 2024, the ANC is bulldozing through a bill which will prove to be unconstitutional, irregular, and deeply flawed. This bill will inevitably fail judicial scrutiny for the following reasons. Firstly, the current wording will render the bill unconstitutional because it will be an attempt to amend the Constitution through ordinary legislation rather than a process for the constitutional amendment. Secondly, the bill is inconsistent with Section 25 of the Constitution and therefore unconstitutional. Section 25(2) clearly states property may only be expropriated in terms of a law of general application for a public purpose and interest and subject to compensation. Thirdly, the final mandate on the bill were irregular in terms of the Mandating Provisions Act, which mandated from only committees in the provinces instead of the legislature being accepted by the Select Committee. The Democratic Alliance wishes to make it clear that we will challenge this bill in the NA where it must go for concurrence and then with the President if it proceeds that far. If the President fails in this duty to the Constitution, we will petition the Constitutional Court for an order declaring the relevant sections unconstitutional. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Labuskaghni. Honorable Gai, Eastern Cape.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Chair explained that the DA will be in their rights. It's allowing the Constitution. If you're not happy with the Act, you follow all these processes. So it's nothing new. So you can't make that as a threat because it's a right that is in the Constitution.
This is a declaration and not a debate.
Guaranteed by the African National Congress.
Order, please.
Honorable Chairperson, the ANC support the expropriation bill. It is geared towards the transformation of the country. The bill is a Section 76 bill and must pass in the National Assembly, required concurrence of the National Council of Provinces. The bill will certainly benefit the people and development in the provinces. The legislation repeals the Apartheid Expropriation Act of 1975, and this bill is based within the Constitution and ethos of democratic South Africa. The bill is based on the due process of law and conforms to the Section 25 of the Constitution. It enables, through the Minister of Public Works, for the expropriation of property for public purposes in the public interest. More importantly, it allows for the expropriation of land with compensation and also in certain instances for nil compensation. It allows for expropriation to ensure the correction of injustices of the past in relation to labor tenants or farms who have historically been dispossessed. It also allows for the temporary expropriation in case of disasters. This bill provides for other government departments to apply for expropriation of land for public purposes through the minister, the executing authority, as this needs to occur with motivation and in the public interest, and changes the fact that in the old Apartheid Act, there were many different authorities enabled to expropriate property. The procedure and process to be followed when dealing with cases of expropriation is stipulated in the bill and enshrined in the Constitution and makes no room for arbitrary expropriation of land. The Select Committee process was very thorough and had both written and oral submission on the bill. All provinces supported the bill and some provinces with amendments. The final mandate reflects that all provinces supported the bill with the exception of the Western Cape. The Western Cape did not support the expropriation bill, notwithstanding the necessity for an expropriation bill which expropriates land within due legal processes and in the public interest. This type of legislation is the norm in all countries with government able to expropriate property in the public interest. The correction of the historical injustice of the past and ensuring development of the majority of people is not negotiable as a process of economic transformation is critical for the development of the country. The expropriation bill will positively contribute to infrastructure development and thereby support economic reconstruction and recovery plan. The bill redresses the historical issue of land dispossession and seeks to redress this within the legal framework of the Constitution. Land is a key asset for the development of historically disadvantaged community. The Select Committee reports that it has agreed to an amendment bill which was supported by the committee. The Select Committee seeks approval of the National Council of Provinces to pass this bill as it is a crucial part of the transformation of the country. Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable High. And we shall now proceed to the voting on the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. And I shall now call upon the provinces to cast their votes, with the exception of Northwest, from whom we didn't receive a final mandate. So when called upon heads of delegations, they must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape iyavuma sekela sihlalo.
Enkosi ma. Free State.
Free State votes in favor, Deputy Chair of the Council.
Thank you very much. Gauteng.
Gauteng in favor, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you very much. KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal ayaseka sihlalo umthetho sivivinyo.
Ngiyabonga ma. Limpopo.
Limpopo vote in favor, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Northern Cape. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape vote in favor, Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson.
Bye, donkey. Western Cape.
Western Cape objects.
Western Cape vote against. Thank you very much. The voting is now closed. 7 provinces voted in favor, and I therefore declare the bill agreed to in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable members, I want to remind you that we have at that stage excused Honorable Njadu because of a specific issue that he was experiencing. So we will now return to the orders, I think 4 and 5, I'm just making sure, so that we can continue and request Honorable Njadu. That is the consideration of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Bill, B31B 2022, National Assembly, Section 75, and the report of the Select Committee on Health and Social Services thereon. Honorable Njadu, if you are ready, may we please proceed now with the fourth order. Honorable
Thank you.
PZ Njadu.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Honorable Deputy Chair of the National Council of Provinces. Thank you very much. The report of the Select Committee on Health and Social Services. The report of the Select Committee on Health and Social Services services on the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, Bill 31B 2022, Section 75, dated 8 March 2024. The Select Committee on Health and Social Services, having considered the subject of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, Bill B31B 2022, Section 75, referred to it, reports that it has agreed to the bill. The process that was followed, Honorable Deputy Chair, the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, Bill B31B 2022, Section 75, was referred to the committee on the 31st of October 2023. The National Department on Women, Youth, and Persons with Disabilities briefed the committee on the 1st of December 2023. Public comment was requested via various parliamentary platforms from 1st December 2023 to 29 January 2024. The committee deliberated on the written submissions on the 5th and the 8th of March 2024. The committee finalized and agreed to the bill on the 8th of March 2024. Therefore, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the report to be considered. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Njadu. Honorable delegates, before we proceed to the voting, I shall allow political parties an opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 78, if they so wish. There is, for political parties, M. De Bruin, Free State, Freedom Front Plus.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Deputy Chair, although the Freedom Front Plus is against any form of violence, we believe this bill is calling to establish yet another state organ with salaries to be paid and another opportunity for cadre deployment without addressing any of the real issues. In fact, it won't even scratch the surface. It will not, for example, address our sexual offences courts and their inefficiency, to name but one of the current problems. And when looking to the composition of the board, it is worrying that the split is still in favour of government, and we are not seeing more involvement of civil societies. Now, Chairperson, the ANC argued that more government entities should be on the board, as they will be the ones implementing the decisions. But one can also argue that civil societies work on the ground and they will provide a clearer picture of what impact is needed to address these issues. Deputy Chair, when it comes to the funding, according to the bill, the implementation of the Act will be accommodated within the funds received by the Council from appropriation by an Act of Parliament, interest on investments, donations or contributions, and monies received from any other source upon implementation of the bill once enacted. Now, that sounds all very noble, Honourable Chairperson, but how would it look practically? I think it will be a totally different story. And another matter of concern, Deputy Chairperson, is the public participation and the lack thereof. Chairperson, activists further claim that the current bill does not seem adequate to serve as a backbone for the formulation of legislation that will advance the implementation of the national strategy against gender-based violence as initially envisioned. Now, Deputy Chairperson, these are but a few of the concerns regarding this bill, but nonetheless, the Freedom Front Plus will skeptically support this bill today. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable De Bruin. Honorable K. Mutwa, you will be the next, EFF. Honorable Mutua, is the honorable member still on the platform? Please unmute. Yes, now you may continue.
Chairperson of the House, I greet you and I greet you all the members of the House, honorables. Chairperson, the EFF, the political party that has established a GPV desk. Through our GPV desk, we are always on the side of the victims, fighting and holding to account police to fight GPV. We have even demanded the Independent Police Investigative Directorate to establish a division that will focus on complaints against police who victimize GPV victims and refuse to open cases for them. As EFF, all structures in all branches, regions, provinces, and national are involved in initiatives to fight GPV. All EFF offices in regions and provinces have established GPV comfort centers where survivors of the GPV can approach our EFF offices for assistance with counseling and referral to appropriate facilities. While we support this establishment in principle, the EFF will not wait for the National Council or Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. We have already started the work that the ANC government failed to do in the past 30 years in government. When we take over power after the 29th of May, we are going to continue with the party practical programs that prioritize victims.
You wish.
Yes, we are definitely femicide. The EFF supports, although the EFF supports the National Council of Gender-Based Violence Femicides Bill. I submit.
Thank you.
Kubo leadership, Kubo, Pambili, EFF, Pambili.
Can we have order, please, Honorable Damini? Can we continue? And we will now call on Honorable Ndongeni to make a declaration.
Thank you, Deputy
Chairperson. She's still alive.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Please, can we have order here?
Honorable
Please?
House Chair.
Alive and kicking. We object whatever Ndongeni is saying.
Hey.
Can we have order here, Honorable Dlamini?
Honorable House Chairperson, honorable members of the House, in response to the President's declaration labeling the gender-based violence and femicide as the new pandemic, the South African government recognized the urgent need for action, collaborating closely with the citizen. The government initiating a stakeholders inclusive approach invites civil society to join forces in the strategize with the government to address this pressing issue. This collaborative effort resulted in the development of the national strategy aimed at swiftly responding to the crisis at hand, ensuring society's full engagement with the strategy is paramount in confronting the daunting issue of the gender-based violence and femicide. The ANC emphatically supports the swift implementation of ANC strategy plan on gender-based violence, emphasizing the importance of involvement from all pertinent stakeholders. This collaborative endeavor is essential for aspiring to reshape South Africa into harmonious and unified nation. To facilitate this collective effort, the district development model and other intergovernmental platforms must take a lead role in orchestrating these initiatives, collaborating closely with the vital entities like justice and law enforcement agents. We firmly believe that this bill serves as a robust mechanism for coordinating our endeavors to combat gender-based violence and femicide in a comprehensive manner. Central to this coordination is the establishment of a national council with both provincial and regional presence, ensuring a decentralized approach to addressing GBVF. Additionally, we advocate for empowering this organization to have a deliberate interest in rural areas, acknowledging that the challenges faced in this context may differ significantly and required tolerate strategies. By incorporating provincial and regional representatives and empowering a rural focus, this will help to address GBVF from this device perspective and effectively tackling its complex dynamics. This multi-phase approach is essential in our collective efforts to end GBVF and promote a safer and more equitable society for all. While the establishment of this council is crucial, it's imperative for everyone to recognize that the battle against gender-based violence and femicide is a collective responsibility that involves every citizen. It's essential to understand that our freedom and enjoyment of rights are inherently linked to the safety and freedom of all segments of society, particularly women in the context. Therefore, it's incumbent upon everyone to actively engage in effort to end GBVF, fostering a society where everyone can live without fear and fully enjoy their rights. This inclusive approach underscores the significance of unity and solidarity in our fight against GBVF, emphasizing the shared responsibility we all bear in creating a safer and more equitable society for all. Honorable Chair, yazi bonke abantu bathethayo nalo u-Honorable De Bruin, not a single day esekomitini, but uzibona ingathi angakaphathi, angeke aphathi. Angisathethi ke ngaba bento esibomvu bona. Kuye kuba mnyama endaweni
Oh, thank you, your time has expired.
The ANC has
Honorable
still
member.
not
Thank you. Honorable members,
murdering his wife. The ANC has a tolerance for GBV.
we will now allow 1 minute to delegates who are outside the virtual platform to join the House. 1 minute to all the delegates who are outside the platform to join the House.
Is it only my sound or what's going on?
I can hear you, Honorable Abuskarni.
Thank you, Chair.
Just support the bill, Abuskar, that's all. Raise your hand down now in favor.
Thank you, honorable members, delegates. We will now proceed to the voting on the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. Delegates who vote in favor should please raise their hands and keep your hands raised.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honorable
Chairperson.
Mushodi, vote in favor. Mushodi in favor, Chair.
Chairperson, it's Karim. I can't unfreeze the raise hand device.
Masondo votes in favor.
And
Yes.
Mushodi, Chair.
Njalo vote in favor, Chair.
I mean, it votes in
Yes.
favor.
People
Votes
just
are voting in
press that button that say I'm voting in favor. There is a raise hand button.
Technology, please.
Who is speaking here? Magwala, you are too young to be like us that are born before technology. You are
I mean,
ready
I
to.
know technology. I'm just saying about everyone
Yes,
that doesn't know technology.
we are born before technology. Stop it. Stop it. So we are continuing with the voting. Thank you, Honorable Karim. We see you now. The House will lower their hands to prepare for the next vote if the vote is complete.
I hope my vote was registered, Chair. I also got disconnected.
Yes, we saw. I saw you. You left the platform, but I saw you also. You were back voting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, delegates who vote against, please raise your hands and keep them raised until the count is completed. Moai, Chief Whip Moai, are you voting against? So there is something wrong.
Yes, he's voting against.
No, I'm
Yes,
not.
he's
I'm not
voting
voting
against.
against. I
The
thought that the
ANC has
question
a
was
high
to
tolerance for
repeat the voting.
GBV.
No, I thought that the question was to repeat the voting.
I certainly do not vote against. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable.
Hold
Yeah.
whip,
It seems
hold
it's fine. Can we just be allowed people? I'm now sitting here in load shedding and it's very hot. You can imagine it's up in 10 here. So
shedding
there is
created
no
by the
votes
ANC.
against. The count is completed. The host will lower all hands to prepare for the next vote. Speak your truth. Delegates who abstain should please raise their hands. There is no abstentions. Can I just get the count? Because the voting is now closed. And I will just get the results. I will just give the results, although it seems as if we are unanimous. I'm just waiting on the results, Advocate. Although the voting was unanimous, we will get the count as soon as it's available. It's 43 in favor and 0 against and 0 abstentions. That was the outcome of that specific, which means the bill is agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. And thank you to the members for that. We will now proceed to the fifth order. That is the consideration of National Youth Development Agency Amendment Bill, B13B 2022, National Assembly Section 75, and report of Select Committee on Health and Social Services thereon, ATC 8 March 2024, page 11. And I will now call on Honorable Edward Zoisile Njadu, Chairperson of the Select Committee on Health and Social Services, to present the committee report. Over to you, Honorable Njadu.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon again, Honorable Deputy Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces. The report of the Select Committee on Health and Social Service on the National Youth Development Agency Amendment Bill B13B 2022, Section 75, dated 8 March 2024. The Select Committee on Health and Social Services, having considered the subject of the National Youth Development Agency Amendment Bill B13B 2022, Section 75, referred to it, reports that it has agreed. He has agreed to the bill. Process that was followed, Chairperson, the National Youth Development Agency Amendment Bill B13B 2022, Section 75 was referred to the committee on the 5th of December 2023. The National Department on Women, Youth, and persons with disabilities briefed the committee on the 6th of February 2024. Public comments was requested via various parliamentary platforms from 10 January 2024 to the 9th of February 2024. On the 8th of March 2024, the committee deliberated on the received written submissions, then finalized and agreed to the bill. Therefore, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the report to be considered. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Njadu. Let me just go back to the... Thank you very much, Honorable Njadu and Honorable Delegates. Before we proceed to voting, I shall allow political parties an opportunity to make their declarations of vote in terms of Rule 78 if they so wish. Honorable Baha. Honorable Baha.
Yes, Deputy Chair, I'm here. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you, Chair. Deputy Chair, one of the main tasks of the NYDA is to facilitate and champion youth development with all sectors of society in a country with one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. However, the agency has since failed to transform the lives of young people and women in particular, a norm for this failing government. It has been more than a decade that the agency existed, yet the youth continue to live in a perpetual state of despair, faced with excessively high burden of unemployment, where graduates suffer in every corner of our society, finding themselves without basic socio-economic support, due to rampant corruption and cadre deployment. The bill allows for an increase in the number of board members and their term of service, which does not help young people to reach their goals and gain more access to opportunities to improve their lives and livelihood. The addition of racial quotas will no doubt take away opportunities from young people. Youth in rural areas are out of reach to what the NYDA offers. We need more officers around the country so that the benefit of the NYDA reaches more youth, so that many more young people in areas where there are no jobs will be able to get opportunities. Too many young people do not know the services the NYDA offers. Recently, I came to know of a young woman from Kukumbu in the Eastern Cape who traveled to Pretoria with the hope of furthering her studies at Tshwane University of Technology. Sadly, she did not get funding from NSFAS and was left with no choice but to travel back to the Eastern Cape. To do what? Be depressed and feel sorry for herself for something that is totally out of her hands. Had she had opportunities from the NYDA, she could gain more skills and find something better to do while navigating her way back to her dream of studying for a degree. This is what a bill should seek to address, and not create structural positions for friends and cadres in the name of our struggling youth. Anything that does not contribute to resolving our staggering unemployment challenges will not be supported by the Democratic Alliance. I thank you, Deputy Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Baha. Next will be Honorable De Tooy.
Dankie, agbare voorsitter. As with everything that the ANC does, all is not what it seems. The National Youth Development Agency advocates that it is there to inculcate a culture of service by supporting youth to participate constructively in nation-building activities, to include in young people an understanding of their role in promotion of civic awareness and national reconstruction. Voorsitter, indien 'n mens die skynkoers oopbreek, dan word die ware Jakob ongelukkig ontbloot. Die agentskap poog om jeug op al 3 vlakke van regering deur middel van verskillende programme blootstelling te gee, maar slegs sekeres kry geleenthede, verdeeldheid word geskep. Ongelukkig, voorsitter, bly die fokus, soos met alle planne wat die ANC maak, op transformasie wat in klein letters geskryf word, wyl dit in praktyk in drukskrif deurgevoer word. Ekonomiese transformasie, rasseklassifikasie. Die ANC het tot op hede slegs daarin geslaag om als waarin hulle die hand slaan van werkend tot dysfunksioneel te transformeer, voorsitter. Die ekonomiese transformasie het tot gevolg dat die ekonomie wat 'n positiewe groei van 'n positiewe groei tot onderromme status getransformeer was, tot so 'n mate dat Suid-Afrika met die hoogste werkloosheidssyfer onder jeug ooit sit. The Integrated Youth Development Strategy that forms part of the National Youth Development Agency doesn't shy away from boasting that it's aimed at promoting greater participation by black people. Die spulletjie kan nie alself help nie, letterlik. Gelukkig, voorsitter, gelukkig is daar jeug in Suid-Afrika wat ten spyte van hierdie selektiewe swart bevoordeling juis kop bo water hou, bo die onderdrukkende omstandighede uitstyg sonder regeringshulp. Voorsitter, die boerejeug het oor die dekades heen bewys dat 'n onderdrukkende regering, beperkende werksgeleenthede en blaatante rasisme van regering teenoor hulle nie sal ontmoedig nie. Wat hierdie regering moet besef is dat die regulasies nie jou wese verander nie, nie jou kultuur van leer en werk en bou kan vernietig nie, en nie die vlam van geloof en vertroue wat in ons hart brand kan uitdoof nie. Voorsitter, druk en spanning bring die beste in ons voort, mits ons gewortel in geloof die hoop behou. Ek sien met 'n opgewonde afwagting uit om te sien hoe die jeug, die boerejeug, nie deur hierdie regering bevoordeel word nie, maar hul toekoms in hul eie hande neem en die ANC die 29ste Mei 2024 van die tafel af gaan vee. Dankie, voorsitter.
Dankie, agbare De Tooy. Die volgende is agbare Lehihi.
Kya leboga modulasetilo. Chairperson, with an unemployment rate of 41.2%, South Africa has more than 10.2 million young people aged 15 to 24 years who are not in school, not in training, and also not at work. The young people of Makwasi Hills, Rustenburg, Madibeng, Greater Taung, Bitsobotla, and Mahikeng woke up every day with no hope of going to school, no hope of getting some form of training or hope to earn a living. The young people of Nyanga, Kayelisha, Belha in Western Cape have completely lost all hope and are now turning to crime, joining gangs, substance abuse, and gambling. But we are here today to debate what has now become a tender administrative desk of ANC Youth League. A body envisioned by young people who once had the creativity, youthfulness, and ambition is now reduced to a desk of equally less creative youth league of the liberation movement. The young people across our provinces have not seen, heard, or received any intervention from the NYDA. The NYDA bill should concern itself with the question of jobs. Young people want jobs, chairperson, and NYDA should be obsessed with jobs for young people. The NYDA's primary function should answer the question of how and where the jobs for young people will come from. The function of the NYDA should answer the question of how young and people will participate in localization and massive industrial development. There must be NYDA offices in all municipalities with proper stationery, high-speed internet, and access to information that leads to the establishment of small businesses and manufacturing. There is no in this amendments and will stop the appointed and deployment of highly underqualified semi-literate members of ANC Youth League NEC, many of whom at school do not even possess any post-secondary qualifications. We EFF reject the bill. Ke a leboga Modulasetulo.
Ke a leboga Sese. Mayor Nkosi, Honorable Nkosi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. The National Youth Development Agency holds a paramount position in addressing youth unemployment and fostering empowerment. In the context of South Africa's pressing unemployment challenges, particularly among its youth, the NYDA's endeavors focus on creating job opportunities, offering support for entrepreneurship, and providing career development programs. Recognizing the NYDA's significance underscores its role as a catalyst for economic inclusion, equipping young individuals with the necessary tools and resources to secure sustainable livelihoods. The agency's initiative not only contribute to individual success stories, but also play a crucial part in the broader economic advancement of the nation. Honorable Chairperson, the proposed amendment plays a vital role in reshaping how NYDA addresses youth challenges. The amendment to the National Youth Development Agency Act aims primarily to tackle the obstacles hindering the fulfillment of its expansive legislative mandate and to enhance the provision of youth development services. This bill is essential to align the agency with the directives of the ANC-led government regarding its establishment, to address public concerns about its lack of visibility, to refine its broad mandate for greater focus, and to streamline service delivery for optimal effectiveness. This proposed bill aims to actualize the concept of an inclusive, cooperative, and rural-focused NYDA. It is envisioned that this legislation will pave the way for a scenario where the NYDA is accessible to all, irrespective of geographic location or political affiliation. By prioritizing accessibility and collaboration, the NYDA will be better equipped to make a meaningful impact in both rural and urban settings. Furthermore, this bill is anticipated to foster a more inclusive NYDA that is committed to supporting youth development across the board without discrimination based on political allegiance. Honorable Chairperson, the ANC endorses this bill, viewing it as a direct response to pleas of everyday South African youth. Key to the bill's merit in its emphasis on optimizing service delivery, allowing the NYDA to concentrate on effectively meeting the needs of young people. Additionally, the proposed amendment to refocus the agency's objectives towards initiating, designing, and piloting socio-economic programs and projects aimed at empowering the youth is deemed crucial. These adjustments are seen as pivotal and enabling NYDA to assume a more impactful role in youth development. This holds paramount significance in fulfilling the ANC's aims of eradicating unemployment. Honorable Chair, aboditoid vele bazophupha, let them dream. 29 May is coming. Whether they like it or not, they'll keep on making statements on the 29th May, 2 years, but angeke ipower bayibone, Honorable Chair. Whether by supporter
Honorable Member, your time.
Thank you very much, Chair. I submit.
Thank you for
Thank you very
rescuing
much,
us, Chair.
Honorable members. We will now allow 1 minute to delegates who are outside the virtual platform to join the House. 1 minute.
Never do that. That's a short thing.
We will now proceed to the voting on the question. And the question is that the bill be agreed to. Delegates who vote in favor should please raise their hands and keep your hands raised.
Njadu, vote in favor, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Njadu.
Honorable Moshodi, Chair.
Moshodi.
Modise, Tebogo, Met Tebogo Modise.
Modise, yes. The House will lower the hands when the count is complete. Same as if the count is complete. If the count is complete, the House will lower all hands to prepare for the next vote. Delegates who vote against, please raise your hands and keep your hands raised. The House will lower the hands as soon as the count is complete. Then we will go to the next vote. Thank you. Delegates who abstain should please raise their hands. The count is completed. Voting is now closed. The results are as follows. In favor, it should be 27 in favor and 16 against. That is the results, which means that the bill is agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. I just want to thank you, honorable members, honorable delegates, the MECs, special delegates, and SALGA representatives that availed themselves today for the sitting. Honorable delegates, that concludes the business of the day, and the House is adjourned. Thank you very much. Magwala's your last.
Thank you, Chair.
Malibongwe.
Denzenu mama,
The chair,
denzenu.
don't mind the chair.
Uyaphapha uMagwala.
Thank you,
Wenzenu
Chairperson.
magwala.
uMagwala
Wenzenu magwala.
uyaphapha. Usike waphapha
Malibongwe.
ingathi kalondoda.
Malibongwe, ANC, Malibongwe. Tata ANC.